Mr. President, to debate against the bill.
Senator Wintrow, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to point out a couple things. We quoted Director T-Walt today, but he was also quoted last year as being opposed to the firing squad when it was discussed because he didn't want to put his staff through that. And that is a published quote in an article published March 8th, 2023 by the Idaho Statesman. So I do want to mention that. And I mention that because we're not talking about whether the death penalty here, we're talking about the method by which we're doing it. And I do think, I can remember when I first started in the legislature, my first session was in 2015, and I was in Jude and Rules, and I was making all these decisions on things I really didn't know about. So I thought I better go on a lot of field trips and figure it out. So I went to every prison, I went on ride-alongs, I met with police, I went pardons and parole, you name it. And it dawned on me through all of this research that our corrections system is a direct reflection on us, on who we are as a state and the decisions we make. And I know it's hard for you all to believe, but my mother taught me that restraint is the better part of humanity. I practice and I try every day. But I think in this case, it really comes home to me because we're actually talking about inducing a firing squad. Regardless of what the Constitution and the Supreme Court has said in this regard, a firing squad to me is really barbaric and is not a good reflection on the restraint that we as a state should practice. Regardless of what these people did on the paper, I do not condone any of it. I can't imagine if one of these people had harmed somebody I loved. And I'm not arguing justice. I'm arguing how we bring justice about. And that we as the state sometimes need to practice that kind of restraint to make sure it is humane and that we too are not, contributing to a culture that becomes numb and distant from violence. Thank you, Mr. President.